I got a question for you. You mentioned your grandfather, very accomplished man, especially in those times. Definitely businessman, very headstrong man, and definitely somebody like you said you had to pass a certain test if you wanted to know what you were going to do. Not too long before that, it was pretty much illegal for Black people to read and write. So here it is, Willie T is telling his family that you're going to use college money to start a racing career. What was that? How did that conversation go?
It's pretty simple. I told him what I was going to do. And my dad, fortunately, my dad understood auto racing. He did
Okay.
it as a hobby. My grandfather hated it because it was spinning up a lot of the business money and that he had built. All right, and he started his company in 1927.
Mm,
1927 is when he started Ribs Plumbing and Heating and Mechanical. So, and he did well. But by the time World War II was over, his business was booming because of all the GIs coming back, and the building boom took off in California.
gotcha.
So, financially, we were well off. We were in very good shape. Uh, I didn't want to work for my dad because he took over the business, him and my uncle from my grandfather. And I just told my dad, and if it wasn't for my dad's hobby, I would have never known motorsports. I would have
Okay.
never known it was his hobby. By the time I was 9 years old, I knew what I wanted my career to be. So he bought me go karts, he bought me racing motorcycles, and I started learning how to the the competition side, start building my talents, right? And so that's how it started. I knew what I wanted to do. When I told them that I wanted to go to England and start my racing career, there was pretty much no discussion other than, okay, what's your plan?
Okay.
I told them my plan, and my mom endorsed it. She says, "You're going," and
Really?
it was that easy.
Really? I did not expect that.
Oh
I
yeah,
honestly did not expect that.
my dad was actually skeptical. He thought I was going to go over there and party and chase, uh,
Boom.
yeah, chase girls, right?
Yeah.
Right. I almost said cat,
Yeah.
another name for a cat, but
Right.
I,
That's why I cut you. Boom. I got you.
yeah, right. So, um, but he thought I was going to go over and do that. And my mom knew better. My mom said, "I
Okay.
know why he's going there to start his racing career." And
Okay.
when I called home after I won my first race, uh, it was all validated. It was all validated.
It was all valid. So let's catch this up. So you got the college money, you go overseas, you show up because you're gonna go in for Scorpion Racing, that Scorpion Racing team. You show up to this farm, Mike Estick,
Eastick, yeah, Mike
Eastick.
East.
And world will know to me why he would think you were only there to be a farmhand. Why he thought a Black man showing up to him would just want to be a farmhand. It's just been, just kind of baffles me, right? But you're not. You get there. And I did notice that there were three more races in that season where you had no points. So with you saying that, had you not clinched early, were you not going to be able to continue that season out, or was there another reason why you didn't compete in those last three races?
Oh, I would have actually. I don't know if it was last three. I think it was one or two races, but I had so much points that I couldn't be caught. I had set such a big gap. If we were still fighting for that championship, Mike Eastick would have been let's go.
Okay.
We didn't
Okay.
have to, so why spend the money? And by then, Mike Eastick was paying for it out of his own pocket. I ran out of money halfway through the season. Half,
Whoa. Okay.
halfway through the season, and I told Mike, I said, "Look, things are getting skinny." And he says, "Well, we're leading the championship, and I want you to win it, and I want to win it. So just don't crash the car and cost us more money, and we'll keep going. And we
Okay.
did. And no, from the time I walked in and knocked on the door at his ranch, because he had a huge ranch. He was half farmer and half race team owner.
Okay.
And he had a big barn full of race cars and another big barn full of tractors. So when I knocked on the door, he says, how you doing? I said, yeah, I come to talk to you about, driving one of your race cars. And he says, wow, I thought you were here to get a job on my farm. I said, no. I said, the vehicle I'm going to drive goes real fast. It's not one of your tractors, right? So, we did a deal in about 2 hours, and I spent 2 hours with him. And he right from the beginning, he gave me what it took to win.
Okay.
Right from the start.
Right from the start.
But after my fourth race, and my fourth race was a great one because it was against Nigel Mansell, former Willy. And Michael Rowe. There's some great drivers, all young. And after the race, I ended up finishing second. Rowe won it, me, then Mansell. And we had dinner that night after the race.
Okay.
And he said, oh, by the way, he says, what kind of racing did you do in America before you came here? I said, none. and he had, I was glad he had a glass of scotch in his hand, because he took a drink and he said, well, what do you mean none? I said, none. None. I've never raced. I went through driver's school in America, but I never raced in America. And he took another hit on that drink, and he says, well, I'm glad too many of you Yanks are not coming over here pulling that on me like you just did. And he had no idea, because they weren't kind of checking. There was no records.
Right. Exactly.
Right? And so after that, he had even more respect for my driving talent. After that dinner, after that night, after that fourth race, and that was the same day that I met Bernie Ecclestone. Okay. At Brands Hatch, that same day. And then that night, Eastick and I were having dinner. He told me, I told him what my history was. And he said, wow, he says, you'll be in Formula One in 6 months.
Thanks for watching another episode of Wolfpack Performance. Don't forget to check out some of my other content on Formula One and motorsports topics. Like, share, subscribe, and we go live on the weekends. See you soon.